is also fun to collage, and you can just use the regular PVA glue and see how I put it on in strips. So it's not here, but
Oh,
it's here.
wow.
Right. And then I was able to kind of like go over it. Right. And then you have also like a little bit of separation. And then this is just pastels, which are these. And ironically, like I got this whole box of pastels for free. Hold on. The pastels. Wait, look
Oh
at
my
these colors though.
goodness.
Wait, I'm just like amazed. It's like to die for.
What?
I
Oh
know.
my gosh.
I know. I think I tried to count them last night, but I think there's like 24 in each row times 3 rows of these colors.
And you
like,
got that for free?
yes, I got it in the giveaway box at the art center. I know.
That's a good giveaway.
I know. But these go really, really, really well onto photo paper, inkjet paper, and as long as there's no like glossiness or shine to the paper, these work perfectly.
Oh, good thing you mentioned that. Ooh,
Yeah,
before I forget, can you record for me,
I did. It
please?
started. It's
Oh,
recording.
thank you. Because it's funny you mentioned that I had some previous prints after our last class.
Yeah.
I was playing with this image
Oh yeah, I love it.
and see how it's actually a metallic glossy paper.
Oh, okay.
So when I did the sanding it, it gave it such an awesome look.
Yeah.
And now that you mentioned not to use those on this type of paper,
Yeah.
I'm really happy you said that.
Yeah, I don't use the pastels. I always try to think about like surfaces that are gonna get along.
Absorb?
Yeah,
Mm.
so a paper that has like a tooth, a paper that's mostly pulp and has like some type of tooth is going to be able to react to pastels. Pastels are really, I always like to think of them as like eye makeup. They're like makeup because they're basically
Okay.
like finely ground powder, right? So really understanding each of your art materials is important. Like colored pencils are pressed into like condensed pigment,
Yes,
and they have
yes.
a little bit of I don't know, they have a chemical in them or something that keeps them that hard, that hardens them and makes them like, right. But the other material that I like, I mean, this is my art material table, but the other material that I like besides the pan pastels are these, and these are watercolors. Did we talk about watercolors last week?
Briefly.
Okay, so let's go back. Oh, you don't have your encaustic gesso yet.
No.
Okay, but I might do this over the weekend. And one of the things that I do is that the encaustic gesso can be tinted. So that means that you can add a color, watercolor, not these, but you could add the tube water. These are tube watercolors.
Oh.
So you can add a watercolor tint to the encaustic gesso. So like, for example, do you know what split toning is?
Yes, like you can add a pinkish or a green on top. Is that what you mean?
Right. Yeah. Split toning just means that you have two tones in the image. So it could be whatever two tones that you wanted. It could be silver and gold. It could be copper and blue. It can be black, gray and brown. So it's just split toning. There's a really famous artist. I can show him to you. His name is Phil Borges, and he does split toning. I'll show you his work.
Grab my pencil.
And then there's a lot of artists that do what I call hand coloring, right? So in a way, we need to sort of establish what type of painter we are with the photos, and I don't even think that I could specify what type of painter I am, because like I love that super super minimalistic, just a tiny little bit of color on a black and white, as much as I love like a very heavily painted encaustic piece, right? It's just, and you can like both too. I mean, I wouldn't ever ask I would never ask an artist to choose only one or say, but some people do that. Some people like, they choose one thing that they like, and then they only do
Just
that
do
thing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that I totally respect that and get that, but I'm not that way. Like that's just never been
Your style.
my style. My style is, and even in an exhibition, like I like to hang artworks together that are like, super busy. Like this would be an example. This is like super simple, right?
So gorgeous.
Right. It's just so simple. It's just watercolor and a little bit of watercolor crayon.
Oh my goodness. I thought that was going to be that wax just on the top.
No, there's like nothing on here. But then like
Wow.
this one has like a lot of wax, right? Right. So this
Oh,
is
I
like,
love that.
I know, and you know what's funny is, honestly, Erica, this one sat here for like 3 months and I hated it. But then like the other day, I finally like it clicked. I was just like, oh, wait, I can fix that. Like I know, like I see it. Like let me like fix it. So sometimes too, like the images I think sort of speak to you if you allow that, create that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
For, and it doesn't have to be in the moment. You, unfortunately, like it doesn't always happen in the moment that you want it to happen.
Walking
Sometimes,
away from it.
yeah, sometimes I feel like you need that space or time out or whatever to get it right. You need to like, yeah, let it go, walk away, and then regroup it, right? Come back to it.
Kind of like editing.
Well, totally. And you know what? I don't know if you've ever noticed, but like, I'll edit something and then I'll be like, oh, I must have been in like a really bad mood or whatever when I edited that, because then when I go back and I was like, wait, that's a good, wait, I missed a lot. Like that wasn't that bad. Like that's good. Like, right. You're like, wait, why didn't I pick that one? I know, it's funny how, well, we can be very critical. Artists can be very hard on, we can be hard on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have, right brain, left brain conversations happening.
I saw on your workspace regular watercolors that kids use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
I mean,
okay.
I teach kids too, but why not? Yeah, I have these. Yeah, yeah, because why not? I mean, I have these.
And you can add that to the wax?
No, you only add, no, photo paper. Watercolors have to go directly on the paper or in the gesso. Watercolors on the paper or in the gesso. And I can actually quickly demonstrate both to you right now if you want me to. And then they dry, and then the wax can go right over the watercolors.
Okay.
Yep.
Dry, then wax. Okay.
Like,
so
yeah, go ahead.
The wax, so if I'm adding the gesso and the watercolors, the wax would be the last thing to go on top?
If you're adding the gesso and the watercolors, it would go print, gesso, watercolor, or watercolor, gesso, wax. Yep.
Okay.
And then lots of things can go on the wax.
Oh, okay.
So lots of things can go on the wax. Encaustic paint can go on the wax. Any type of oil paint can go on the wax. Any type of oil paint. And Pigment sticks can go on the wax, and pan pastels can go on the wax.
Okay.
Also those, and that's what we can talk about today. So
Okay.
when we left each other
Last Sunday.
last weekend, I had waxed just with wax medium, right, on a photo.
Yes.
And you had also we had glued something?
Yes.
Okay,
So we glued this one.
perfect.
I waxed a few and it was a learning process, which I'm really happy I did it. I
Yep.
waxed it on regular hail. I always forget how to say it.
Hanemule.
Hanemule. You would think I would know.
No, I would no no. It's like ha. It's like H-A-H ha, and then nemule.
Hanemule.
Hanemule. You got it.
I did this one. I added the texture by sanding the curtains and the floor, and I
Okay.
waxed that. And I waxed these two metallic, shiny, the same image, a little
Right.
bit different.
Okay.
I waxed these
Okay.
just to play with it. And I learned that I didn't have my wax hot enough.
Your wax wasn't hot enough. So you saw clumps in it or bunches?
And immediately as soon as I applied it, it dried like that fast.
Cooled. It cooled instantly. So it didn't move. It didn't allow you to brush it, and it didn't move.
So
Okay,
I went back with the gun and I put the gun to it a little bit.
Okay. And what was the temperature? Do you remember?
It was at 200 and
No,
I raised it.
That your 200 should be fine. I mean, I'm
Okay.
at 200. I don't, what type of pan are you melting it in?
Let me show you.
And because, okay, so the thick, like I use these.
And I noticed that. I think I'm gonna have to do that because I have the actual.
So what's good about these is that they're thin, so that the actual pan wall is thin, so it's quickly conducting the heat, right? It's quickly melting and staying melted. It's not resisting.
This is what I'm using. I don't want to burn myself, so I'm grabbing something.
That's okay. No, yeah. Or move the computer or move the video so I can see your palette. You don't. Oh, it's below you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's right here. The thicker one.
Okay. I mean, that should be fine.
Okay.
That really should be fine. Okay, so a couple things about that too is if you feel like your wax isn't moving enough, you have a heat gun, right?
Yes.
You can do something, you can preheat the paper.
Oh.
So the idea of preheating just allows you to get more movement, right? More more swiping.
Yeah.
Because if the paper's cool, or if you're like in air conditioning or you have anything like that, then your wax is going to come out of the pan, even if it's the right temperature, it's going to come out and go, yeah.
And that's another thing that happened. I was in the front room and we were in a heat wave last weekend and the AC was on.
Right. So it didn't have anything to do with your palette temperature. It had to do with your air temperature. So if your air temperature is like 60 degrees and you're taking your wax from 200 to 60, it's going to have a panic attack.
Okay.
It's going to just completely freak out. And so what you're going to need to do if you're going to work in that environment is you're going to need to preheat your paper or your board, which is easy. We can talk about that today.
Okay.
And then you take the heat gun and you put it on there, and then you put it on there, and then you start, and then you wipe, and then you heat it, and then you wipe, then you brush. And that's really too. So, okay, so cold and hot should give you smooth texture, and cooling should give you rough texture.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Makes
today what we
total
can
sense.
also talk about is adding more texture. So we could talk
Yes.
about stencils or lace. Do you have any of those things that you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll talk about adding color.
Yay. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna get I'm gonna grab a couple texture making tools. So I'm gonna grab a stencil, some lace, and some string. Do you have all three
Ooh.
of those things?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'll grab a print and I'll have wax medium. Now, did you get any encaustic paints? Did you get any sticks?
These.
Those, okay, so those are pigment sticks. Those are not
Oh,
encaustics. But we
that's
can,
what's
no, they're fine. We'll use them.
okay. Okay. The sticks are also arrives tonight at 9 p.m.
Oh, okay. So you did buy some of them. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine. No, it's fine. And I know, I mean, I feel for all of these delivery services that are like nobody wants to go anywhere. Everyone's depending on them to bring stuff to their house. It's like, okay,
Actually, the art store ran out of
I'm
the
sure.
things that I ordered on Amazon. They're like, yeah, we have it in San Diego. I'm not driving to San Diego.
Well, but it makes sense, right? Because people
Yeah.
are stuck at home. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to
Do stuff.
stay busy, yeah, stay productive or alive or whatever,
Stay sane.
I don't know if that's actually happening, but we're trying.
No.
I mean, theoretically, yeah, but I don't know. I have my doubts some days. Okay, hang on one second. I'm just gonna grab a couple of things. I'll be right back.
Sure. ¿Te vas, mi amor? ¿Ya te vas?
Oh wait, I was trying to do that.
A ver, beso. Have fun. She's not there. Look at her shop. So this is just all the stuff she's grabbing, like the stuff that I have. And she's in, and it was the AC, the quick temperature. The glass was cold, the air was cold. She was like, "No, you were at the right temperature. It was just, it went into complete shock." Have a good run. Okay, bye.
Okay, so I have I picked up a couple things. So one is I have this. You know what this is, right?
Yes, that's from the fruit or the lemons or the avocado.
Right. And then this is cool. This is like this is like a found object thing that I bought, at an antique store, or thrift store. So it's a roll of lace, right? But it's really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then this is also stuff that you find like Salvation Army or whatever. So zigzags. This is also really cool. And I just need purses. And then this is this is a piece of lace. So this lace has already been waxed, right? So, but it's good. It just means that it has wax in it. So if I wanted to clean it, I would just lay it on the palette. So here's like my palette, right? So if you want to clean it, you just literally like lay it down.
Oh.
And you can just let the wax melt off of it. And then you can take a paper towel and just like clean it, right? So this is also how I clean my palette. So, right? So if I have, my palette gets messy, I just take a paper towel.
Okay.
Right? And clean it. So I can just kind of clean this area, which will loosen the heat. This is like the most gentle way. Also with the plastic stencils, my stencils get so messy. So you could use, there's two things that clean wax, right? Heat, or now you know about the other thing that cleans wax or stiffens it, is cold, right? So it's kind of equally affected. It's definitely like a lukewarm temperature material, like, right? It likes things like right there in the middle. It likes, okay. So now this is like nice and clean, you see?
Oh yes. Oh, perfect.
It's beautiful. Okay, so that one's ready. This one's ready. Okay. So I have wax medium in my little pots, right? This one, I'm actually trying to clean these up. So these are a little bit dirty because I clean my brushes, right? So like these are all my brushes. We kind of talked about brushes a little bit last time, right?
I don't. Oh,
Okay.
briefly.
Okay, so we can talk about them again. Like I could talk about brushes all day because I feel like every brush has like a different effect. A lot like pens. Have you ever done any like marker work, or like people that draw or illustrators? They buy like all different size pen tips, right? So they buy like super fine pen tips and then they do super wide. So this one is, I'm just gonna try to make myself, I don't know why, but lately it won't let me make myself the
primary.
Yeah.
If you
Full
are you
screen.
pinning yourself?
Hold on. Now I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. So let me see too. So I like a lot of different size brushes, right? So this is like a 2-inch pocket. I'm gonna move this light too. Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
I have so much sun right now. Hold on. Is that that looks so much better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, I'm a photographer, right? I should know how to light this. Okay. So you need less of, you want more. Okay, so that should be good. All right, so I'm gonna put the print here and I have all these art supplies over here. Okay, so I use these mud, I call them mud pots. And so what happens is that if I use colors in my wax, I put them back in the mud. So I keep my wax medium clean. So I might have 2 trays, right?
Okay.
One with wax medium and one with what I call mud. Now, the thing about the mud is that you can totally paint with it, but it's just not perfectly clean. So it has like a hue or a cast. Like right now, this mud is a little bit beigey, but I can test it. I like to keep like a scrap of white paper. And sometimes I think it's really nice to mix color with dirty wax. And the reason I like to mix color with dirty wax is I feel like it just softens the color, right? Because it's gonna just dull it down a little bit. Okay, so this is what my mud looks like, right? This is the color of my mud. Right? Super pretty color, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so not bright white, but not brown, not totally opaque, semi-translucent. And I think just a really, really nice mid-tone, very, very light coffee color, right?
Yeah.
Okay, So now I know that that's my mud. And then over here in this tray, I should have clearer, cleaner wax medium, which is going to go on like this. So you can definitely see the difference, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's what I try to do. I always try to have one tray wax medium, one tray mud. Okay, so if I get my brush dirty with paint, it doesn't go back in the wax medium, it goes into the mud, right?
Okay.
And then I can clean it. So to clean a brush, I take a paper towel, I put it in the mud, I lightly, like I tap it, wipe it on the side, let most of the wax come out into the mud, and then I brush it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I go like this. I fold, it's honeybee. I fold it and I squeeze it.
Like makeup brushes.
Yep. And now I should be clean. So I can go back in the clean and it should be clean. And voila, it's clean.
Ah, nice.
Okay. Okay. So dirty brushes go in the mud, right? Mud. And if you want to, you could take a Sharpie, like because you're learning, you could take a Sharpie and you could say mud, or you could have two different pans, or you could put like duct tape on the mud one. I mean, there's just something to mark it as mud.
Okay.
Okay. And trust me, I talk about this a lot because I make a lot of mud. Like this is mud. It's gray, right? But what happens is, look, I can take this aluminum pan and I can keep my mud. So technically I can pull this out of this pan.
Oh, wow.
And now I can paint with this.
Ah.
Right? So I do it sometimes too with a cupcake tray.
Oh, okay.
And
you
I
have
put
individual ones.
Yeah, I make different colors. And then when it hardens, I can pop them out and I can paint with this. So if I wanted, this is gray, right? Gray and black. So if I wanted to paint with this, I just put it on the hot plate. Look, and I'm never going to waste this paint, right? So look, now I have I have black paint, look.
Oh my God, that's genius.
Right?
I love it.
Right? Right? And then remember, how do I clean the brush? So I tap it off, right?
Excess.
Excess could go, and these paper towels, you can keep them, you know, and you've seen like the reusable wax cloths, right? Well, they're selling like wax cloths for food preservation now. So you can reuse this wax cloth to clean your brush. But like, look how beautiful even like the wax is on the paper towel. I mean, right? Okay, so now I can go into the mud, right? Swish this brush around a little bit. Now my mud is getting a little bit darker, right? Because I put that darker color in there. I'm going to tap it off and then I'm going to wipe it out, right? Does that make sense? Okay. And now I can go back to where? Now I can go back to
your main
wax medium, right? My wax medium, and look, like clean.
Wow.
Okay. So I recommend keeping a lot of extra, like don't throw away extra borders or white paper, right? Because it's really good to have it around to test what color you're making, right? Also your paper towels, right? For cleaning purposes. And look, I could totally be neat about it. Like I can, refold this one up, right? And keep that here. Like this one too. Like I don't need to throw it away. I'm going to keep it. It's just wax. Okay, so these are all good paper towels. And then this, now I could reuse the tin, and I made my own paint. I made my own paint by just what I had put in here with using black and making mud. So I made my own paint. So I can put this over in my paint pile. I'll show you a couple other. These are some other muds that I made, right? So these are some other muds that I made. This is my mud. This is my mud, right? And this is my mud. So like these colors are super translucent, but would look beautiful just if I melted them down
A little bit,
just
yeah.
a little bit. So they're going to be very translucent, like light green. And I can show you,
Green.
I can show you what color they are, right? By putting them on white, you can see what color they are. So they're
Ooh,
super translucent, like light green.
just a tint. Yeah.
Yep, just a tint. So I always like to keep my, and these I made, these are mine. I made them from stuff in my studio. And it's nice to kind of like get away from like all your store-bought colors
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, start finding your own sort of language and color. Did that just fall? I think that just fell. Hold on.
Yeah, it did move a little bit when you walked away.
Yeah, it fell. Okay. All right. So, do you want me to go over brushes again? I mean, really,
No, it's perfect.
the
That was
ones
good.
with the long handles, you know, are the Hake brushes, right?
Yes.
It's HAKE, they're Hake brushes, and they come 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inches, 2.5 inches, 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest Hake brush, I mean, honestly, I think if you looked hard enough, you could probably find like an 8-inch Hake brush. I don't.
For big prints. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. If you were going to use an 8-inch Hake brush, you'd probably be using like a huge, you know, you'd be painting on a very big panel,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we would want to be going smooth. And guess what? You'd be using a lot of wax,
Yeah.
right? Because like you wouldn't be in a little loaf pan like this. You would be in like
Yeah, big saucepan.
yeah, like a turkey pan, or yeah, like a stew, a soup pot. Okay. So I'm gonna do, since you don't have your gesso yet, do you want me to focus on wax today, or do you want me to show you gesso stuff too?
If we have time, both. Oh, I like what you said about this, using this paper to, if we were to cut it up and layer it.
Okay, you want me to collage with the freezer paper?
Yeah. Can I
Okay.
use this wax paper or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
And
if
I
you're
do
gonna-
have some wax, I mean, some lace and stuff I found around my.
Okay, well, let's do the paper. I
Okay.
mean, let's do the paper first, and then we have to let that dry anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the paper on the darker image. So this is like a still life. This is like some of the work I'm gonna show tomorrow is
Okay.
like my still life stuff that I do in my studio. So during COVID, because I couldn't photograph people, I started doing one-on-ones with my dresses. And so I would go, and it was actually really fun. So I would go around the neighborhood with clippers early in the morning, and I would steal people's flowers. No, I know it sounds terrible, but I wouldn't
No, but it's good.
No, I know, but I wouldn't steal like enough for them to notice. You
Right.
know what I mean? And most of them were like trees or big bushes. It wasn't like one little flower in a pot, and I came by.
Yeah.
And like, it was more like yeah. So anyway, like cherry blossoms. And I also went to the park, so I figured like, okay, it was the
You're
park.
helping them.
Right. I was pruning for them. Right. Exactly. Okay. So PVA glue, right? And this is not whatchamacallit. This is not wax paper. This is deli paper.
Oh, okay.
So I can wait, hang on, let me grab the box. It's
Yes.
for whatever reason it's called dry waxed paper. So I think it's more for like sandwich wrapping and stuff like that. Okay. So you could take the paper and I mean, and look, so this is like stained. This is it stained too, like, right? So you could definitely like paint it with watercolors or tea stain it, but like that's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just
That's
that slight,
gorgeous.
yeah, just that slight. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm super romantic about anything that's like aged looking or
Yes, I'm a fan of
slightly.
your letters that you did
Oh
and
my
you put
God,
it
yes,
on.
slightly. Right. So the first thing I do is like I kind of like look at it like this, you know, and I don't see a lot of the photo through here. So I don't want to just cover it. But I think what I'll do is I'll strip it, right? So I'll tear it. And then I'm going to use the glue. And then maybe you want to like arrange it like where you see fit. And a lot of times it's like from the outside in. So I think about things I know about photography, like depth of field and tilt shift, right? So that things are like fuzzy on the outside and sharp in the middle, or sharp in the mid, right? Yeah, fuzzy on the outside, sharp in the middle, or fuzzy on the inside and sharp on the outside, right? But like, where else might this look good? Like this in this empty space, right? Or right in here. And I can just kind of like just kind of like lay it out. All right. And then I should have a brush. I'm gonna go just grab a paintbrush.
Okay.
So I collect like a lot of brushes in my studio of all different sizes that I don't use in wax, right? So these are like two of those brushes. And I can just, you can pour the wax out into a tray, or you can just, and I just went on this side. I don't really think there's a right side and a wrong side. So I'm gonna flip it over though. So I'm just gonna put the glue right on the wax paper. And then I'm gonna put it on the, and then I can definitely, after this dries, Ericka, I can definitely put wax on top of this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, but only after it dries. Like, let these layers, you
Do
know,
their thing.
yeah, let them like give them 24 hours to
Okay.
think about it.
It's a relationship.
Yeah, you guys got to think about it. All
Figure it
right.
out.
Yeah, I'm doing right. But look how pretty that is. And you know, it might dry a little bit more. Oh my God, it's beautiful. And it might dry a little bit more translucent than it is here.
That's
Right?
gorgeous.
Gorgeous, right? Just gorgeous. Okay, so, and I like I'm kind of like framing this a little bit.
I like the trick that you taught me last week of crinkling
Yeah,
and
crinkling.
adding the texture to this wax.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that tomorrow.
Yeah, and you can crinkle. So everything is crinkleable. So even your well, your wax itself, even any of these papers, right? What else? Yeah, almost anything that you could put. Anything that you can manipulate it. I mean, that's my rule. You know, if you can move it, move it. If you can shake it, right? If you can crack it, wrinkle it, you know. And guess what? Even, and like, so here too, like, as I'm laying it down, Ericka, if I'm deciding that I want it more crinkly, I can push it together.
Ooh, yes.
Right?
Hey, yes.
So I can push it together and crinkle it more. Right? And so especially like here where the dress is, you know, like and also I'm thinking too now about kind of going outside the line, right? So I'm breaking up this bottom, like this bottom line, right? So I'm going outside the frame. And I can crinkle it like the dress, right? So the dress is crinkled vertically.
Has
So
the
look, I
line.
can also crinkle it vertically, which is nice, and then lay it in there, which gives it a little bit of
Depth.
realism, right? To what is actually
Yeah.
happening in the photo. And notice too, like I was just pretty sloppy with my glue, but you know what? I can leave those on there because they're just gonna add texture. Like I tend not to, I mean, you might be different. And, you know, I never like to tell anybody that they're too neat or too messy because I do think these are sort of individualistic work
Pieces.
styles, right?
Mhm.
Just really like who you are. And sometimes when I'm teaching, I'm going a little bit, I mean, I tend to work fast anyway, but I'm going a little bit quickly because I just want to cover more material.
Yeah.
Okay, so really we can't do that much more with this right now. But we could add a piece. It's heavy on the bottom, so we could go one. I love this shape right here. We could go one more. Also, we could think a little bit about specifying a shape, right? Because I tore that, we could also think about using, I know, sorry, my laptop's sliding. We could think about using a blade, an X-Acto blade, a pair of scissors, a tool to make a shape, right? So we could make, right? So we could cut, like literally cut, because we're working with flowers here, right? We could, right? We could cut out a flower, right? So, right? I mean,
Ooh.
and we can add it somewhere, you know, and whether or not it, you know, so we can add a flower to the flowers. So I like to play around with the idea of things like being actually in the photographs, but then also trying to make them myself in other ways, whether that's painting, drawing, tracing, scratching, right? So I try to think about the forms or shapes that are in the composition and maybe where else I can add them to give a feeling of imagination, right? Creativity, playfulness, right? So we can try to put that, like, look, and again, because this paper is so malleable, I can kind of wrinkle it, move it. Okay.
I don't know if anybody's ever told you this. I'm so excited I could cry.
Ah, oh my God, you're so cute. No, nobody's, yes, one other person told me that they cried about a presentation I did on a book I made, but that was the only, no, I'm just kidding. Crying, yeah, that's the only person who's cried. All right. So, and again, like,
So
look how
fun.
pretty, even the white, you know, the clear is over the, like, look, just even this.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry and see what happens when it dries, right?
So you the paper that's dyed with the tea bag, I
Uh-huh.
noticed it was literally half and half. So you folded the paper and put half of it hanging into like a tray or something?
Yeah, I mean, half must have just been in and half must have been out. Half in, half out. Yeah, I don't think, I don't really remember when I even did that, but I did make tea the other week, and I made every tea is going to be different. I made like 2 English breakfasts and 1 Irish breakfast. But every tea is going to be like a slightly different color.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't forget, you could also use just regular tissue paper. You have to be a little careful with tissue paper though, because it can shred, just like literally just fall apart, right?
Oh.
It disintegrate, because it's so light, right? I mean, I might just put a little guy here.
This is seriously so much fun. Oh my God, I feel like a kid.
Ah, well, that's good. I'm glad you feel. All right, so. Okay. And if you wanted to do more than one layer, we could also do that. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna leave that there. All right, so it looks like this.
Oh, I love what you did at the bottom with the skirt, like the dress, the line down there. Oh,
Oh yeah,
wow.
this one, the
Yes.
wrinkle. Yeah, the wrinkle's
Yes.
good. Okay, so I'm gonna put that to the side. So if you want to do
Okay.
one like that, go ahead and
then let it dry.
and let it dry. Yeah, and then you can keep these.
For later.
Yeah, and yeah. And like, I mean, again, if you want to make your own by painting the wax paper or staining it, that's fine. If you want to buy it,
Oh no, making it.
or tissue, yeah, make. Okay, and then you can make it in other colors too. Blue, blue, purple, green, brown, gray, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put the glue away. All right, so let's go to waxing and wax texture.
Okay.
And do you have a scraping tool, like a razor blade?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me put this away.
So sometimes too, I clean my tools the same way I kind of clean the lace is I just drop them on the hot plate. And, let them wax just melt right off of them rather than like struggling with them.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can always clean your hot plate by just taking a paper towel and going like this. So you have, how many pigment sticks do you have, Erica?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay. So what colors do you have in the pigment sticks?
I have my basics, my primary colors, white,
Okay.
black, yellow, red, blue, and I think that's green.
Okay.
And then this small batch of earth tones, white, a terracotta, a tan, and I think this is black.
Okay. So what we're going to do is the first thing when we have the print, right, is that, and I think we did this last week, is you did what I called those base coats of wax medium over the photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and again, like if you want me to show you again, like I'm just going to go through my brushes again, right? So I have like my 4, I mean, these would be like my 4 favorite brushes in here. I'm just going to keep it simple. So let's just keep it simple. I'll use this one instead of this one. Okay, so these are my 4 favorite brushes. So I have my 4-inch Hake, right? I have my 3-inch short and stubby, right? Stubby.
Mm-hmm.
I have my like 1-inch Hake. And then I have my standard. This is just what I call like, this is your most common, your 2.5, right? This is my 2.5, my middle size Hake. Okay. So I know like for this photo, there's a couple things that I might in my head think about. And I think a lot about these flowers here. And then I think about the wallpaper. So that's the background. So I think about hand coloring the background or those flowers and having her naked body sort of be separate or different from the background. So one of the things that I might do with the background is hand color it before I even wax.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we didn't do that with any of yours, but I'm just putting it out there as a possibility. And then if I was doing it, hand coloring it before the wax, it could look like something like this. So I hand colored this with the pastels, right?
Beautiful.
So let's see what happens when I wax this.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to take a medium-sized brush and I'm going to wax it. So it's bleeding a little bit, like because the
color.
Yeah, the pastel that I painted it with is not hard, right? So, but I don't see any pink in my paper towel. So I think I'm just good to go, right? So I could just think about waxing this. And I can do these little strokes, right? And I can go up and down, or I can switch directions, right? And go horizontal, right? Also, I can do the dab. Remember we talked about the dab? Right, so these are brush techniques that I like. And the thing about the dab is that I know I'm getting like I always call it like a window to the photo, because I'm not blurring over it. I'm just like putting wax on there.
On it, yeah.
As if I'm creating like a window. Okay, so that's what it looks like with the wax on it.
Oh my God, that's so stunning.
Okay, so now if I wanted to make any part of this like sharper, I could use one of my pottery tools and remove some of the wax to go back to the photo, right? So thinning the wax brings the photo back to sharpness, right? So it's kind of like clarity, right? All right, and then I could use a smaller brush. So say I wanted to add some lacy texture, because actually like under here is a piece of lace. So this would be a perfect place for me to say, okay, I'm going to add some wax lace texture. So I lay this down on here where I want it. I can use my 1-inch brush, right? And again, I'm going to kind of dab, because I feel like if I brush like this, the wax is just going to sit on top. It's not going to go like into it.
Okay.
So and then if I wanted to go into the pattern even more, after I apply the wax, I can use a tool like this.
Yeah, your wood one.
Or I can use my palette knife and I can scrape on top of it. So this would be like, yeah. So I'm scraping, and the lace is moving a little bit, which is nice because it's kind of giving me like a little wrinkly, right? And
yeah,
then
wrinkle like a smudge.
Yep. And I'm also, it's a little gray because of whatever was on here, but I don't care, because I know I can change that. I can change that color of that. Okay. And then I'm going to pull it up.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So now I have another, you're so cute. Now I have another texture there. So I can clean my palette knife, right, by putting it on the hot plate. And then I can blend, right, any part of this. And I can even take, I can blend. So now I'm blending the texture back to the photo. So if it's covering up part of the photo that I want to see, I can actually just keep going till I take it off. Or I can just soften the intensity of the texture. The other way that I can soften the intensity of the texture would be, of course, to use my what?
Your gun.
Gun, right, which would liquefy it, right? So it would be a little bit more intense. And you want to be careful with texture if you liquefy it too much, because
it'll go away.
It'll go away, right? So you want to be, 3 or 4 inches from the top, and you're, just blending.
So the way you were using your scrape tool, if you were to put it on your palette, heat it up a little bit and come back to your paper. Come back to your paper just to remove in that certain area, because your tool is a little warm.
Yeah, it's
gonna be a trick.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, you just have to play around with your temperature environment, right? And like here, this is what I would call a hard edge, because it's
Mhm.
texture on smooth paper. There's nothing else
Mhm.
there, but I kind of like it because it's really standing up in contrast to smooth white
Mhm.
paper. But if I
Yeah.
wanted it to be more gradual, I could use the heat, you know, and soften that connection where those two lines are meeting, and the heat, see how I just softened it? And then I could
Yeah.
also, now that it's, I could also extend it, right? Or remove it a little bit.
So good.
And look, and because of the heat, what else did it do? It went what?
Oh, it
Through
went
it.
through.
Right. So that's another thing too. But I really like the contrast between like this being super
Mhm.
sharp and this being
So soft.
smoother, and this being smoother where I just smoothed it out, right? And I like these sort of like outside, like the box, like I, you know, you just get, for me, like I'm very overdone with the rectangle. You know, like I've had enough rectangles and squares in my life, you know what I mean? Like I'm over it. I'm over it. All right, so look, this is that darker color. This is the darker color, the gray. But look, it gets, see how it's darker at the top?
Yes.
Right, so why not just go darker at the top? So I could add, you know what? I'm gonna grab a stencil. I'm gonna add some more flowers. Hold on a second.
Loving this.
So stencils are a little hard to shop for because stencil art is a little like low level art, like it's like below us, but we do love stencils. So you just have to be really creative in how you use them. So like this one's kind of cool because it's fairly abstract. And what I'm really trying to do is just match the form. So this shape to me is similar to the shape of the magnolia. So I'm really not going for literacy, but I feel like I could fudge
Pockets
it.
of it.
Yeah, I could fudge it and put it up here. So first thing I'm going to do is lay down a little bit of extra just wax, right, as the base to go off this top edge, right? And I'm actually going to add, I'm going to add a little bit of wax to this side too, just, okay. And then I can go, and what's nice too is that the line of the real branch is sort of following the line that I see in this stencil. So I'm going to add these just here at the top, and you can move it around
to look at it.
Yeah, I think this is actually better. All right, so I'm going to go with the dark gray. So I'm going to go here, and again, I'm dabbing. I'm not wiping because I don't want it to just, I want it to fill the stencil space. And so, and I'm going to go more than I probably need. And then I could do a little brushy to kind of blend it. And then maybe somewhere else, just put the same color somewhere else in the composition. So just so it's not like the only. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. So I can pull it up. So it might be a little heavy-handed, right? It might be heavy-handed. So what I can think about now is sort of, what do you think? Too much?
Taking back a little bit so it's not so perfect on the edges.
Exactly. So it's not so perfect and also not so dark. So the first thing I should probably do is fuse it. And then because it's hot right now, I should probably just wait a second. And I'm going to use the same tool so I can wait a second. And then I'm going to start to think about like blending it. So just very lightly
blend.
Right. And you're really, right. You're really watching as you're doing this because like every time you touch it, it's changing it. So you want to be able to see it evolve right in front of you. And I mean, it's easy, you know, you can go too far pretty quick.
Yeah. I did that to
one. Right, but that's okay because you always have your photo underneath. You know, you always have your You can always go all the way back if you have to.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that this might be okay. What do you think? Better?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then I know, go ahead.
And the lines aren't so perfect the way you did it when you first took off the stencil. Yeah.
Right, you don't want the stencil to be cookie cutter or perfect. And now you could go, so this is interesting too, like if I wanted this just to be there, but like maybe just a little bit softer, you can always put another layer of medium over it, right? Because that's just another like blending layer, right? It's just a clear, right? And you could put it where you want things to kind of soften. And softening areas makes the eye focus on the areas that you want people to pay attention to, which are the sharp areas, right? So you can start to really manipulate people's vision about what they're looking at, you know, and where their eye is staying in the composition. So I think this is good for now. I mean, I think it's just, I think it has enough wax, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to put this one to the side and let's talk about, let's go back to the other one I was working on and let's talk about using your painting with your pigment sticks. Okay. You ready? And I don't know what time, I don't even know where my phone is.
It is 10:13 my time.
Okay, so that means it's 1:15 my time. Okay. So I'm going to go back. Now you have a couple that are ready that you did wax on, right? And now you're ready to add either texture or color, right? Did you hear me? Did you freeze? Ericka? Are you there? Are you there? Hi. Hi. I don't know where I went, but I'm back. Okay. So, okay, so do you have any wax on that one right there? The one you mounted to the board.
Oh, this one over here?
No, the one you have right in front of you. Do you have wax on that? The one in front of you on the table. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi. All right. Well, we'll just be patient. So the one in front of you, do you have wax on it?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
This one, I don't have any wax on it.
Okay, so let's wax it.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then we can start thinking about adding color to all, because then you'll have all your pieces waxed, right?
Yes. This
Okay.
is the only one that's not waxed.
Okay. And that one, I think you definitely want to add some lace to it. And the reason that you want to add lace to it is because she has that awesome like skirt she's holding up. So we want to add fabric there or texture there or something, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I should lay my lace first?
No, wax first. Wax first. Yep, just the base coat. So we can do it together. So I would use like a bigger brush with the wax medium, you know, like
I have a 4-inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just, go right over her figure with the
First.
4-inch. And then if you want to switch brushes, you can. So then the littler brush could be, for texture or dabbing. You could try some dabbing.
Yeah, I
Either
like
in the
dabbing.
background. Yep, in the background is a good place to dab. Yep. I tend not to dab on their naked bodies, but if there's clothing or cloth or a background, you can dab in those places.
I see places, and I think.
Okay. And then after you feel like you have a nice thick wax coating over that photo, then we can talk about adding the lace texture.
I don't. Oh. What I'm noticing is your brushes are obviously the right ones, and I bought the ones they gave me are at the art store, are these type,
Uh-huh.
and the strokes are a little different.
Okay, so you can correct that with the heat gun. Heat gun, I would heat gun it.
Okay.
I would hit it with the heat gun. So whenever you have texture that you don't want anymore, you always have two options. One is to blend with heat, and two is to scrape. So you always have to just decide which one's going to work better for you to get the result that you want. And I think for a first coat, my advice is always to just use the heat gun.
Okay.
And then if that's not smooth enough, then you could use a razor blade. But because you're on a board, you don't have to be limited to the pottery tool. Only on paper are you limited to the pottery tool.
Okay.
Because the pottery tool is very mild, really. Its abilities are like not that, not that high. So are the lines disappearing?
Not yet.
Okay.
Nothing's not happening.
And I go straight up and down and over side to side like this. Yep. Yep, better. How do you think it looks? Okay. Do you have a little razor blade, Erica? Do you have one of these
Yes.
guys? I would use this guy.
Oh, and scrape it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're scraping, oh, and what I do is I go over the line and like almost like an X, like over and like I switch directions,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You don't want to just go in one way because then you're going to make new problems, right?
Okay.
And also if you can
I
get it,
see.
if you can get it to go like this so that you're moving fluid, you're going to take off any ridges. Also, you don't have to stress that much about this because you're going to add wax to this. Like, don't drive yourself crazy.
Okay.
This is a base coat.
Okay.
Unless this is your final coat that you're thinking needs to be perfectly smooth, please don't like stress
No.
about it.
It was just one area that was like a glump.
Okay, yeah, so the glump's got to go for sure. So you can deglump.
Okay.
Like a new word.
I love it.
Yeah, we made it up. We're
Okay.
deglumping. Okay.
I need to make peace with the wax. I don't know why it makes me nervous.
No, it should make you nervous. Because honestly too, like you're not married to this coat. Like you're not, it's not the end of the day for you guys. It's not the show day, you know? You got like time together to work it out.
Okay. Okay. I think we can continue now.
Okay, so grab their piece of lace and put it, and this is what I do sometimes. Like I just kind of like acted really confident because I was in front of you and I was trying to show off. But a lot of times when I'm adding lace texture, I might move it around, like lay it down, take a picture of it, and move it.
Okay.
And then do that again. Like,
And keep
where do you
moving
want
it.
the lace? So I'm assuming you want the lace to be coming off of this artist's arm, right?
Yeah, on the continuation of here.
Yes, in that shape, right? Yeah, let me pin you. Yeah. So if you want to lay it down in a couple places and show me, and don't forget though, like it's movable. It's you know, you can take it off. You can.
I don't know if I'm a fan of this exact.
Pat. Yeah, so I don't like that shape. Right. No. So you have to flip it so that it's expanding on that shape. So that shape is like, so not going against it, but making it bigger. Figure out. Yes, better. Yeah, I like that better. So it's going out from that shape, or even that move it all the way over so that it's radiating. See how it's radiating here and it's like a fan, this part? Move it all, no, this part on your left. Yeah, this part. No, the part, yeah. Yeah, that should be outside. So it's like a semicircle. It should be moving on the other side, towards the right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, over there. Yeah, so you're making like that circle larger.
Oh, I see right here.
Do you see it?
There she is.
But you have to move it
Yes.
around and it has to speak to you.
I like that.
Then, yep, then go for it. So add the wax on there.
And not on just the pattern of the circular or the entire, or
I would think just the part that you're trying to accentuate, just the pattern and a little bit outside the pattern. I would go all the way to the white edge though. I would make it bigger. I always make it bigger than I need it. Does that make sense? Because you're bigger than you need it, because you can always go backwards. You want to make it bigger than you need it.
I'm gonna cut this. And you said dab?
I would dab or brush lightly, depending on how the fabric starts to react to the wax.
Okay. And then I take it off. Oh, I see a spot I missed.
Yeah, and if you want to scrape it down a little bit just to see what that looks like. What does it look like if you press on it a little bit? Do you think it needs that? Do you think it needs to be like flatter in some way? Yep, exactly. So you can scrape over it that way. That's just gonna make, it's just gonna make the stencil sharper, right? So pressing on it, it's gonna make it go deeper into the wax. It's gonna make that pattern sharper.
Okay.
And you don't have to do it all over, just like maybe a little bit or around the edges, or
Oh, okay.
it's not mandatory. It just really does change, I think, the feeling of the stencil from being like cookie cutter perfect to being like looser. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll know as you do it more which you prefer, but I even like it to vary, right? Between, like, I like it to have both, like loose and tight. Right. And I also like it to be thick and thin, right? I don't like it just like one way.
Okay, I pull off now.
Yep. Is it working for you?
It actually looks a little bit like snake skin.
Oh
I'll show you
yeah.
in a second.
Yeah.
This is so fucking awesome. Oh my gosh. This literally looks like snakeskin. Oh my God.
Awesome. Oh yeah, beautiful.
In that
Oh
corner,
my God, yeah, beautiful. Okay, so because your image is so black and white, do you feel like you want that pattern to be black? Or do you want it to be a color?
I don't know. Now,
Like, do you
maybe
want,
black.
okay, so do you have a black pigment stick?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna get the black pigment stick. Also, do you feel like you need to scrape it back in any way or?
In a couple spaces. Ooh, maybe I should let this dry.
Yeah, and maybe like fuse it. Yeah, let it cool for a second. Maybe fuse it a hair so that it feels like it's totally connected to the panel, like it's not gonna fall off. Like you want to make sure that it's not gonna like flake off. You know what I mean? Flake off or fall off.
Yeah, there's a few spaces that it feels like it's gonna
Right. So if
fall
it
off.
looks like it's right, so if it looks like it's half on there or sitting on the edge, you want to secure those spaces. Right.
So I'd hit it with the gun or
Yep,
maybe
hit it
just
with the
with the
gun.
tool.
Yep, hit it with the gun. Exactly. So right, so you're starting to sort of see maybe like what your needs are and what tool you need to achieve your goal, right? So, you're going to have visual goals. You're like, "Oh, I want it to look like this. I want it to do this. I want it to do this. What do I do? How do I get it to do what I want it to do?" Right? So you're learning like a whole new skill set, different than photography, but similar, like in a, I always talk similar in ways.
I think I'm gonna take it off right here. Okay. I think that's good. I think that's good.
Okay, so let me do something similar to what you did. So I'm gonna go like, wait, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna add. Okay, so I'm gonna add this lace like you added lace, but for me, I'm gonna have it like shooting out of her because her hand is here and she does not actually even wear it. I'm just gonna have it like coming off of her body.
Oh, I see right here in the
Right, so it's gonna be more like it's like a skirt for her. Right, so it's gonna be in the lower portion. Okay, so I'm gonna get this texture on here. So I'm just gonna do this to kind of like mirror like what you did a little bit. And I'm gonna, okay. And I'll scrape it like you did, kind of, and wait for it to cool. You always want to wait for it to cool before you start pulling it up, right? If you pull it up too quick, of course, you're not.
Okay. I added a corner.
Okay, so mine turned out, again, mine's a little bit gray, right? So here it is down here though. So you're gonna use a black, do you have like if you don't want to use straight black because you feel like it's too harsh, you could use your wax paper or a paper plate or a regular plate, and you can blend your pigment sticks, right? Because pigment sticks are really nice and oily. So you can blend the pigment sticks. So you can take a piece of wax paper like this. If you have white, you can put your white out, right? So you see how I'm putting the paints on the, and then this will become your painter's palette.
Ooh, okay.
Now, I sometimes go backwards and forwards with how I feel about black. So sometimes I might like very dark gray, so or Payne's gray, which is actually black and blue and maybe a little bit of medium gray mixed together. So you could also do like that. You could do a mixture of those. You could do dark blue. You could also do brown and black and white, right? To make like a brownie black, right? Or if you wanted to do like a purpley black, you could do that too. Like, so, you know, again, like you can really, do you see how I'm like, look how pretty, I just did
Yeah.
purple. I mean, so whatever dark color you want to use, you can really, it does not have to be black. Just because your undertone color is black, you do not have to use black as your darkest shading color because it tends to be kind of boring. I mean, black is black. There's like nothing else to it.
Yeah.
Right. So some people really like it and some people don't. So everybody kind of has their own.
Maybe like this dark green, a little bit of it.
Sure. I mean, whatever color speaks to you. I'm going to go, I like this. I made like a blue, like a dark, like a plummy, dark color. So again, you can go, this is my darkest shade of it along with the purple. Now you can use your finger. I like to use my finger, but you can just start rubbing the paint from the palette right directly like, onto the pattern. And what's going to happen is it's either going to sit on the center of the pattern or you're going to be able to like push it down in between the lines. So there's two things that could be happening for you, right? So it's either going to go like on it or in it, in between.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, did you happen to buy the extender stick?
Extender stick.
Extender stick. So this is because these pigment sticks are made with beeswax, paint pigment, and a little bit of oil. The extender stick is made just of the oils and the wax. So it just kind of thins them out. If you don't have extender stick, you could also use coconut butter, like, or coconut from the kitchen, or even a little bit of vegetable oil.
Oh, I have that.
If you want to make this just a tad bit thinner, or maybe move a little bit easier, right? So it's kind of like just getting a little bit more out of it by adding a little bit more like extension, like flexibility.
So either coconut oil or
well, you can either buy you can either buy the RNF extender stick, which looks like this, right? But what does this look like? This kind of looks like a big chapstick.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like oily. And do you see how it just like takes the paint
Thins
and it makes
out.
it, well, it makes it more translucent and it makes it thinner so that it goes farther, right? And then you could also, go ahead.
Coconut oil or vegetable oil?
Yes, you can also use coconut oil or vegetable oil, but just not a lot. Like,
very little.
Yeah, because you want it to dry and you don't want it to get like bug, you just a little bit.
Okay. I'll use a Q-tip to.
A Q-tip?
Yeah, just to pour it, so it's very little.
Yeah, that's fine. Or you could just use your finger. Just put it in a little cup and put it on your finger, and then you can go like right over the pattern. So it should start to look like this.
That purple is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
So I've just been blending. Right, I've just been blending like the purple and the Payne's gray, which is like, and the white, right? And I've been blending it on the piece and on the paper. So it's kind of just like blending all over. And then I can always put dark, I can layer it, right? So I can put the white down, then put the dark on top of it. And then also you can paint any other part of the photo with this too. So like, see, look, I can go back into these flowers. Remember I was talking about painting these flowers? Or the empty space, like, so you can paint right on the wax, right? So these.
Green is really green.
Right, so I painted a little bit in the background, but I've just kind of stuck with this one color. Now, if you wanted to be pretty aggressive with it, you could take the actual stick itself and rub it right on the wax in there, and then use a paper towel to blend.
Dab. Okay.
Okay, so let me watch you paint. I'm going to switch you to the pen. And go ahead.
I was trying to think of my elementary school mixing colors. What two colors make what color?
Well, red and blue make purple. Yellow and blue make green. Red and yellow make orange. So what color do you have? Blues and blacks? Blue, black. If you want to do black is a dominant color. So if you want to do blue, black, you have to do blue. Don't add the blue to the black. Add the black to the blue.
Okay. Because I ended up making, it looks like a gray. It's very dull. Doesn't have like a
So add some blue to it or add purple to it. And if you want to make purple, you have to use your red and blue together to make a purple. Also, some of your sticks are not RNF sticks, right? So are half. So you'll notice a huge difference between the RNF sticks and the Sennelier sticks. Sennelier sticks are very hard.
Yeah, I noticed that already. The ones I ordered that are coming tonight are RNF.
Yeah, so the RNFs are like juicy, like juicy,
Yeah.
couture. Like
exactly.
Yeah, like ripe fruit, right? So they're like very voluptuous, you know, have a lot to offer, whereas the other ones
not so much.
Not so much. They're just very drier, but they're also just used for really like drawing and like figurative or traditional painting and drawing, not as much as whereas the pigment sticks, the RNF and the encaustic sticks are really, those pigment sticks are really meant to mix with the waxes and go over another texture and blend, right? And sort of have this different, they just have a different job, right? So it's like, kind of like we all have our jobs, things we're good at.
I really see the difference between the two.
Yeah.
It's night and day.
Yeah, so what you might only be able to do with the Sennelier sticks is really kind of like draw a line and then take a paper towel with a lot of oil or extender and then rub it. You're not going to get it to be able to rub out like on its own. It just won't go.
It's a big difference. Wow. Because this is what it's like a blue.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Now put it on your pattern. See how so start painting your wax piece a little bit. See how you like that. And again, you can use your finger, you could use a paintbrush, right? You can put the stick directly onto the surface. And you're painting a 3-dimensional space, right? So you've got to think about sort of like, how is that working out for you? Like, are you going on the top of the surface? Are you going around it?
I'm going on top of it.
Okay, so that suggests like a raised surface. So that would mean that it's coming forward, right? And out of the picture plane.
Ooh, I can see I'm gonna need a lot.
Say what?
I can see that I'm gonna need a lot.
A lot of paint.
of paint. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, because you probably put a lot of texture on there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's too bright.
That's okay.
Really like it.
You like it? Can you hold it up? Can you hold it up and let me see so I can see what's happening? Okay, so it's green.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pretty.
Not what I wanted, but I like the way I'm just going with it. I'm not
Yeah,
trying
do
to.
it. No, do it. I mean, you're learning, you know, you're processing. So you're learning how to color the wax. Right?
Yes. I can't wait for those sticks to come tonight. How about
Well, right, and then new materials, you're like, oh my God, like let me try like, you know, but then there's like you're like, wait, what do I do first? And I mean, and again, you can do this in layers. Like you can layer wax back over this, right? You can
oh, these RNF sticks are so much better.
yeah,
Holy
they
cow.
move. That the other ones don't move. They're very stiff.
No.
Right.
I'm gonna get, that's what I forgot. It was a paper towel.
Yeah, you gotta have the paper towel for the blending. Because yeah, you can only blend so far with your finger, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want to do more blending than that.
I'm gonna try. I should have done this.
And you want to start, you sort of want to think about like your goal, like, you know, what is your goal here? Are you just making her skirt bigger? Are you creating an environment for her? Like what, it's nice to kind of have, are you creating a fantasy world? I mean, I'm assuming you're just elaborating on her clothing and kind of like dressing her up, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I hate to say this, but it's already one, oh my God, it's like 1:55. So I'm gonna head out in about 10 minutes, but do you want, how can I help you? Do you want to just paint? Do you want to just do your own thing? Like what?
Yeah, I'm gonna. So after I do this, I
So
can
you could,
still add other things to it.
yeah, so you can, and even now, like if you want to just leave the painting of that texture to later, but maybe you want to like add another layer of wax. Some people even add like 2 or 3 layers of medium. Right. So, and also because now you had a surface and then you have a texture on it. So you have 2 different levels. Maybe you wanted to level out, you know, so you could build up wax around the texture so that they're, instead of being like this and this, they're like this. Right. So instead of one being right, they could be even. You can always add more wax medium. And one other thing I wanted to show you today, if you're going to, are you going to paint more today?
Yes, I'm gonna sit here and make my own colors out of these.
Okay, so I want to give you one more little food for thought thing.
Okay.
Okay, and that is that if you take your wax medium on your hot plate like this, right, and you make a little puddle, right, of wax medium, you can put your pigment stick in the wax.
Yes.
Did you see what I just did?
Yes.
Okay, and then you can paint with it. So you can take your brush and your wax medium. If you add more wax medium, what's that going to do to the paint? It's going to make it what?
Clearer.
Yes, very good, girl. Yes, awesome. It's going to make it more translucent and clearer, right? So it's kind of like lacy and you can kind of see through it, right? Now you can mix here too. So I have blue there now, but if I wanted to make it, you know, purpley, I can just put the purple right in there on the hot plate. I can add more wax. You can also paint with these pigment sticks, okay? So you can make them almost like translucent, right? And you can paint with them, right? You can paint with them. You can put them on as glazes, like over, even over the stencils that you just made, right? And then you can heat them, right? Fuse them. And you could decide to scrape them back a little bit too, right? Now, one more thing, just to totally blow your mind. You can also fuse the pigment sticks into the wax on the actual artwork. So here we just added it, right? But if I wanted to do like, if I wanted to do a heavy, I'm just gonna move this. I could take the pigment stick directly to the wax, you know, in fairly painterly way by actually just you know, like wiping it on here. Like literally painting directly with the pigment stick onto the wax. And then I can fuse this in there also. So I could either like blend it a little bit, right? With the paper towel, and then I can fuse it.
Ooh.
So that
I love that.
Right. So this means I'm making, I'll show you, it's a different type of texture, but it's also instantly drying it. So I don't have to wait for the oiliness to dry. I have to wait. I can't move it right this second, but it just gives it like a totally different look.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Oh my goodness, that's so amazing.
Okay, so I just gave you, and you can rewatch this video too, and I know I just squished a lot of information into like the last 5 minutes. So we talked about making texture with the encaustic medium, right? Then we talked about painting on that with the pigment sticks and blending the pigment sticks. Then you can also blend the pigment sticks into the wax medium and then paint with it in, like you're making your own colored wax, right? So it can go right in here with the wax medium, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yay!
so I can, right, so I can paint with this and then like, look how pretty this color is.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Right, so that's like so beautiful. So like, yeah, we gotta put some of that in there. And then you can go ahead and put this over, you know, on top of the stencil layer you already did, or you can put it someplace else, right? And then you can fuse it, right? So you can fuse either the wax with the color in it, or you can fuse the pigment stick directly onto the piece.
Oh my, oh, I'm clapping. Okay. I'm clapping.
Okay, I know it's overwhelming, but you should just play. And I mean, and I'm sure you're gonna have questions, but I'm gonna see you tomorrow, right? And I will send you this recording. I'll send you this recording probably around dinner time tonight in a couple of hours.
Okay.
Okay.
I think what I need to do is order those brushes you have, because I'm noticing it from the moment you put it out of the wax to the paper, it's huge. My brush doesn't do
Maybe
the
your
same.
brushes are too short and they're not holding. The thing about the Hake brushes is that they get a lot of wax in them. Like they absorb, they pick up a lot of wax. Is that what
Okay.
you mean? Do you feel like there's not enough wax in your brush?
No, it makes it too, as soon as the first application is very blob-ish. If that makes, it's too blobby.
Oh, maybe
like a
you're
big
not.
chunk.
Okay, so maybe you need to tap the brush on the side of the tin. Like when you're lifting the brush out. Wait, watch me. When you're lifting the brush out, tap it here and then try brushing.
Okay.
But also try the
that.
Hake. I mean, I love the Hake brushes. I love them. I think they're amazing.
Yeah, I'll give this a try, but I think it's the brush.
Okay. Well, right. But you're gonna have to try. It's like trying clothes on or trying shoes on. I mean, you're gonna have to try,
Multiples.
some different techniques. Yeah, you're gonna have to try stuff before you know exactly what's working for you.
And what's my favorite?
Right. And that's just sort of part of gaining confidence and experience with the medium itself, right? And the equipment, right?
No, you're right.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to run. I have to go. I have to eat. I got to go to the bathroom.
Me too.
Okay. I know I've been holding it for so long. Okay. So I will see you tomorrow and have a great day. Have a great day, Ericka.
Thank you. And I really, I know tomorrow's going to be a lot of people on here. I just really want to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
For giving not just me, but other artists to scribble. Like not what we are taught when we're little, like stay inside the lines. Literally color outside of the lines, because you can create something better than what you started with.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to be so happy you're going to be with me tomorrow as I hit like the large group and everything. But yes, I'm here for you, and I am happy to encourage you and support you in your exploration, in your process. Yay! Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a beautiful day.
Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good luck.